everyone as well. Okay, welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Samantha Herrick, you might recognize me, and I'm a producer here at Alumni Ventures. And I'm so beyond thrilled to kick off this session as we explore one of the most dynamic shifts happening in tech and finance right now, decentralization. From finance to infrastructure, blockchain is reshaping how we interact with systems that have been centralized for decades. And today, you're going to hear from Mike Collins, our founder and CEO at Alumni Ventures, as he breaks down how you can be part of this transformative movement. So, let's ask ourselves, what if you could invest in the companies leading the decentralization revolution, transforming our digital economy, and you didn't need insider connections or millions in capital to do it? You're going to discover today how Alumni Ventures has built one of the most impressive blockchain portfolios in venture capital, featuring companies that are solving real-world problems through decentralized networks, next-gen financial platforms, and AI integration. Investing in blockchain isn't just about crypto. It's about freedom, transparency, and being part of a fundamental shift in how we transfer value and information. Alumni Ventures has made this opportunity accessible with just a $10K minimum investment, giving you ownership in the company dismantling centralized power structures and returning that control to the individual. Now, my turn is over, and now we're going to pass the baton to Mike to get us started on the rest of this webinar. So, Mike, take it away.
In today's discussion, I'm going to talk a little bit about something a lot of VCs have, which is a secular trend about decentralization. We at AV believe strongly that this is the way the world always heads and is heading now at an accelerated pace. Some of the technologies, blockchain and others, are really attacking aggressively kind of centralized powers. And if you believe in distributed world decentralization, I think that you might find today's presentation interesting. So before we get started, just disclosures. This is not an offer or to buy or sell any securities, which are made pursuant only to legal documents. It's just the views of me and Alumni Ventures on the investing landscape. So no further ado, we're going to quickly cover just a couple of minutes about me and AV, talk a little bit about blockchain and the relationship between it and the major trend toward decentralization. We'll talk about sectors, specific companies, trends, and then maybe how to invest in the space. So this is about where the world is heading, and look forward to talking to you about it. I've been in the venture entrepreneurial space since the 80s. I've seen a lot of trends. Started Alumni Ventures a decade ago to bring smart, simple venture investing to retail investors with a pretty simple proposition. We can do better together in this asset class by being a network than we can do on our own. It's been a pretty successful journey. We're coming up on 1.5 billion raised. We have 11,000 or so individual customers. We've invested in 1,500 companies. We offer an opportunity to invest in a kind of fire and forget portfolio for as little as $10,000, or to pick individual deals through our syndication program. So we're 120 people located equally in our back office in Southern New Hampshire, and our investing teams are in the major venture hubs. Our strategy is really to be a co-investor of choice. We are very well thought of in that space. We encourage people to check out some of the amazing companies we've invested in through our Apex 50. Part of the strategy as well is to be a co-investor with leading venture capital firms. So next slide. And these are some of the names that we invest with a lot. We could have other top firms on here, but we're very much a co-investor alongside very strong leads. We think there's strong correlation between it. And we're going to talk a little bit today in the specific investment thesis about some of the groups that we co-invest with, which we think really have domain expertise in distributed technologies. So we're going to talk a little bit about just a very quick explainer on blockchain. It's really software. It's about a ledger that has pretty significant advantages. But it is fundamentally an approach to organizing data that is immutable, distributed, and can be very, very powerful in a variety of key applications. So we think it's a powerful technology. Do not confuse meme coins and bad actors with what can be a very powerful technology trend. So what are the advantages? Decentralization, secure, distributed, immutable, programmable. These things are very powerful attributes of this approach. I view this because I think there comes a lot of baggage with cryptocurrencies and meme coins and blockchain and run-ups and speculation. I think it's very easy to lose sight of what I think is really going on here, which is a decentralization revolution. If you look at the companies that we've invested in using this technology, they're really about disruption and doing things more efficiently, making things more accessible, making things more global. And is really about breaking down centralized power that exercises either monopoly pricing or taxing. And it really returns control and freedom and autonomy to individuals in a much more powerful way than has ever been available before. So like many big, profound technologies, it has fits and starts, and it is a multi-decade transition, but I think one that's incredibly powerful, incredibly misunderstood, but inevitable. So and we'll be sending along this deck as a follow-up. So I'm going to move through a lot of this stuff pretty quickly. But the idea of the advantages of this approach, third-party involvement, where control exists, how hackable it is, the ability to use things in a distributed fashion, means that you don't have a single point of failure. Ease of use. Again, this depends on the specific application, but there's opportunities to make this more powerfully and customizable and personal. And then just the tax tolls, the monopoly power, the pricing of a centralized system. Obviously, we've seen centralized powers create enormous tolls on transactions, on access. Really, a lot of the richest people in the world have kind of centralized these kinds of powers and controls. So we think this is the market always wins. So we think that this better technology will eventually dismantle some of these centralized systems. And that makes it very investable. So this is just a few of the areas. Again, I'm gonna cover on them a little bit, which is, clearly when you're talking about a new technology, there's infrastructure, there's financial services, there's control of information. There's a lot of infrastructure stuff that goes on, kind of the formation of a new technology. But we're starting to see, I think, kind of next level stuff. I mean, one of our companies, a Blue Sky, really taking a decentralized approach to social media. I think we're seeing the convergence of some things going on with identity and AI. I think there's new versions of kind of Web 2.0 services. Clearly, we think there's things related to stores of value, currencies, where there's real opportunity. So I think this is like the internet. I think this is something that, again, is a multi-decade trend. And we've been very proud to be investors in these companies and others, for quite some time now. And really, there are companies on this list that I think are crushing it, could have IPOs in the next year or two. Again, I think the next 5 years, we're going to see, again, another wave of decentralized general ledger-based companies really come to the fore. So talk a little, let's bring this to life. Let's talk about some specific companies. Again, I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. I've just lumped them into these 6 categories here. Again, a lot of you have heard of companies like Carta, Upstart, which are financial platforms. There's definitely a lot of buzz around Blue Sky right now. But other companies people have heard of less, TRM, Babylon, Quai Networks, Miston Labs is doing amazing work. Again, there are companies within the digital asset ecosystem that are, have filed for IPOs. Again, we're just really proud of having been in this space for some time now, and really excited to continue to invest on a yearly basis. So this focuses, again, just touching briefly on some of these trends, decentralization, data infrastructure. A lot of these things are related to things going on in AI. Clearly, we need authentication in a world of deep fakes. Privacy issues become more important. Cybersecurity becomes more important. These are really strengths of blockchain and distributed ledger technology. Protocols, these are infrastructure plays dealing with scalability, interoperability, efficiency. How do you do these things with low energy, high latency issues addressed? Efficiency, ease of use, very important. Obviously, one of the verticals where this can really make sense is in financial services, where there's a lot of centralization, there's a lot of tax, there's a lot of inefficiency. Those are really areas that are always kind of, you look for, can you disrupt it? When there's real pain in the ass factors that come with centralization, an innovator and entrepreneur can look at doing things that kind of tackle that. So again, kind of the synergy between AI, doing more with less, decentralized, empowering individuals, doing things more efficiently. Great entrepreneurs along the line are using this to tackle financial platforms. Digital asset ecosystem. So we're seeing the world is moving digital, obviously. Bitcoin has been disrupted to gold as a digital repository of value. I've written about, I don't think that story is even close to being completely told yet. But I think you're going to see more and more of this over the next 5 years. And companies that, we've been invested in for some time now are really kind of coming into their own, into the spotlight. we have great opportunities to continue to invest in these kinds of trends. Security, obviously, this is always an issue with hacking, hacking at scale, AI-enabled hacking, security, authentication, really plays into the strength of this technology. So as AI takes off, we think it is going to create huge opportunities for some of our portfolio companies. Again, as I've talked about, I think there's a huge trend toward disruption, decentralization. AI is going to power this. These are just three of our companies in our existing portfolio that deal with this. Blue Sky, maybe one of the hottest tech companies of, the last year. People think of it as kind of a, red pill, blue pill alternative to X. But we invested in it as a decentralized platform that really promotes kind of autonomy, decentralization. X is actually a very centralized platform. And so we really like using these new forms of technology infrastructure to create alternatives and competition. So what do we think? Key trends from, our Apex 20, and that's our list of 20 companies that we believe are really in this decentralization space that we've already invested in. Again, we continue to invest actively, but the AI and blockchain integration flywheel, we think is a big thing. We think there's decentralization and disruption coming to social media, research, supply chain. We think that there is a big trend toward a big positive trend toward a more favorable regulatory adoption. I think you're going to see uses of this technology in the public sector as well as the private sector. I think whenever you give people a more efficient way to control their privacy, their security, their data, if you decentralize it, if you make it more accessible and cheaper, you will create enormous value. And this is what this technology enables. We think that there's real bridge coming between, what existed in the web and the huge companies that were created on the web 2.0 and what will eventually become a much more decentralized web 3.0, kind of driven by AI. So we're believers, we're here to stay. What's in the public sector, what's in the mass media ebbs and flows when it comes to the whole area of blockchain, decentralization, power. But we're believers. So just a little bit about our blockchain fintech fund. This is a fund that we raise on an annual basis. It's a portfolio of, 15, 20, 25 companies, generally all stages, that includes both some tokens, equity in positions. It's international. Our performance, both MOIC and DPI, we're very, very proud of. Some specific examples of particular companies that we've invested in. This is high risk, high reward asset class. This is not earning 4% market. But, you look at the groups we've invested here, where we are today, there's opportunities here to make 5, 10, 20, even more on your money in some of these investments. I think it's really important to note that we are investing with some of the leading blockchain, distributed ledger, decentralization investors in the world. These are the deals we've done with these particular players. So on this slide and the next slide, you'll just see kind of a who's who of, who's doing good work in this space, who's committed for the long term, who's committed to building great companies. We're proud with our co-investor list. In addition to being part of our fund, this is a great place to learn if you're interested in technology, if you're interested in AI, robotics, blockchain. There's a lot of content we create in real life events. We do a great job at AV, I think, of getting our community involved, again, based on this network-powered idea. And one more thing, we encourage you, if this is something you're interested in, to get on the phone and talk with us. We have a variety of personas, from people where investing in private companies is new and they want to learn about how to construct a portfolio, how to think about it, what to do. We call them venture curious. We also have people who are, trophy hunters or tech enthusiasts who really want to learn, know what's coming, build their career. We have people that are, just have made a bunch of money and want to kind of pay it forward and stay young, use it to educate the next generation. So we have a variety of personas that are interested in venture investing. And we want to be your venture partner. So encourage you to reach out. We have different ways to engage. Some people just, like to kind of do it as an introvert and kind of read materials, make their own decisions, do their own research. Other people like a more kind of interactive give and take with a human being. Both are cool, and we encourage both. Just really easy to schedule a call here with a QR code, view our fund materials. Obviously, if you're already an existing AV investor and just want to review your portfolio, put together your plan for the next 12 months, we have incredible customer service support and account management. So went through things really fast today. Again, secular trend, bit contrarian, but it's a bit where the future is going to go. And those with foresight think over the horizon. Decentralization is happening. Blockchain is a foundational technology that is going to be more in play in the future than it is today. So if it's something that resonates with you, please reach out. Thanks for your time.
And so that's just a glimpse into the future that blockchain is shaping and the role that investors like you can play in it. So first off, a huge thank you to Mike Collins for sharing his insights and all of his knowledge today. And if you'd like to learn more or explore how you can join the movement, visit av.vc, scan the QR code that's been on your screen throughout this whole webinar, or connect with our team. And thanks so much for being here, and we will see you next time.